Today, let's build the easiest and best gunpowder farm within Minecraft. Now, normally easiest and best don't go together, but this farm is a totally different story. This farm is incredibly cheap, easy, and very quick to make, but it's also expandable, meaning that if you want more drops, you can simply make the farm bigger by adding more layers, which is super easy to do. This farm is also incredibly efficient with no waste of space and no loss of drops. If you'd like to build this farm alongside me, you will need everything inside of this chest here. About 4 stacks of building blocks. If you're early on in the game, you can even use something like dirt or wood. About 2 stacks of trapdoors, some carpet, some water buckets, some campfires or a lava bucket to kill the creepers, hoppers, chests, and optionally, glass. In addition to all of this, we will also need 2 cats for the sides of our farm. Now, the easiest way to do this is to simply find yourself a village. Ever since 1.14 has been released, it's incredibly easy to find villages inside Minecraft, and most villages should have cats spawning around them. Cats will also spawn around artificial villages, so if you have yourself a villager breeder, or maybe even an iron farm, it's very likely that cats could be around. So to start off, find yourself a nice big flat area, and we're going to dig a small hole, which is 2 by 3, just like this. On either side of this hole, we are going to build a 2 by 2 block, just like this. So what you're going to do next, from the cubes we've built here, we're going to build out like this. 1, 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we're going to do the same thing on this side. So build out 1 block, 2 blocks, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Once you've done that, we can connect this back part. And the same thing goes for the other side. We have 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we have 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we can connect the back here. So at this point, your farm should look like this. And then we can just take all of these walls and raise them up by 1 more block. From here, we can drop down into the farm, and we're going to take our trapdoors and place them on the upper part of the second block of the wall. Now, we're going to fill in the entire ceiling with trapdoors here, and once we get to this middle block, right in the middle of this back wall, this trapdoor is going to be placed on the lower half of the block. So if we're looking at the wall here, we're going to go to the lower half of the block and place the trapdoor. This is because the cats are going to sit right here. So fill the entire ceiling in with these trapdoors. Once you have all of your trapdoors placed like this, we're finally ready for the cats. So we can grab our cat, we can take a lead, and just place your cat right on top of this block. The cat should willingly just be able to go in just like that. Cats will have to stay in the farm as long as you would like to use it, so make sure they're not your favorite cats because they're going to be serving us for a while. So next, with our cats inside the farm, we're going to go right underneath our cat and place 1 block of carpet. We're going to skip 2 blocks and place another piece of carpet and do the same thing on this side. We're also going to skip 2 blocks going forward, place a carpet there, there, and there. So you should have 6 pieces of carpet in total on each side of this farm. It should look like this. And with that, you can either take your building block or turn your building blocks into slabs and place an entire layer of blocks right on top of these trapdoors so that we cancel out all of the light coming into this farm. The farm needs to be completely dark for creepers to spawn. Now, while actually making this farm, I do recommend you at least leave 1 or 2 blocks for a little gap of light to enter the farm, or you get some torches and place them inside just temporarily because we want creepers to spawn, but we don't want creepers to spawn while we're using this farm and while we're making it. The creepers can spawn once we're finished. And with that finished, we can head to the inside. So next, take the rest of your trapdoors, place them like this on either side of the pit. This way the creepers are tricked into thinking that this isn't a hole, even though it is. And then we can dig out this a couple more blocks. Doesn't really matter. I would pick 4 or 5 blocks just to make sure you're safe. And from there, pick a direction and start mining forward. I would recommend give yourself a pretty good distance. So right here, we have water buckets, and I'll let them flow the entire 8 blocks that water buckets can normally flow. And then on the last block, I'll do this to expand this even further. So for me, I've dug this out about 20 blocks total. That's because I want to have a little room here to collect my drops. I might place a little bit of light, but I don't want any of that light leaking into the farm over here. I want it to stay dark. So here we have our water. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to dig out a little bit, and we can place our chest just like that with hoppers on top. And then we have our campfires 1 block underneath the water. From here, I'm going to place my optional glass. The reason I like to use glass is because I just like to be able to see what's going on. So here's how I did it. With this placement, it's perfect so that once the creepers come down here, they will, unfortunately, be forced to go right in the campfires. If you use lava, you can do a similar thing with signs and just have the lava floating right up here, and their drops will go right in the chest below. But obviously, you don't need to use glass. You could just have this entirely covered up. You don't really need to see what's going on. Once you're inside of this little room here, you can decorate it however you want, and then I create a little staircase headed to the surface so that you can get out. And with that, we're pretty much finished. Let's head right inside of the farm here and destroy the torches because we want creepers to be able to spawn now. So this should be entirely dark on the inside once we have the torches destroyed, and it should look like this. Totally dark. So once you have that, all you need to do is build yourself an AFK platform anywhere about 120 to 80 blocks away above the farm, and creepers will start to spawn inside of the farm here, and you will eventually get them going down the water into the campfires where they will no longer exist. Now within this farm, a couple things to be careful of. Make sure everywhere inside of the actual farm is a light level of 0. If you want to potentially improve your spawn rates a little bit, you could go to all the caves around this farm that are potentially close underground and light them up, but it shouldn't make a huge difference with this farm since it is above ground and we're AFKing above the actual farm. Now, this farm itself is good and will certainly get you more than enough gunpowder than you could ever wish to have. However, we can easily make this farm 10 times better. As it is right now, you might get a few hundred gunpowder per hour, but we can easily turn this number into thousands. All we have to do is essentially recreate the farm on top of itself. We have this little pit here. Make sure we have the trapdoors just like this. And then get yourself some walls on the second layer and make sure the blocks are too high. So once you have a second layer finished with all the cats, carpets, trapdoors, and everything in place, you can just block this off and you now have this farm producing double what it did before. You may want to adjust your AFK platform accordingly, but it should still work pretty much the same. And you can make this as large as you want. You could make this all the way from bedrock to build height and even put one right next to it, run on the side of it, and you can get tons of gunpowder. It's great when farms are expandable like this because you can make them as small or as big as you want. Or you can start your world with a really small and simple design, and as you get more wealth and riches, you can expand it upwards. Typically, this is the size I make my farms in my survival and hardcore worlds because at this point, you get many hundreds of gunpowder per hour depending on circumstances, and it's more than enough gunpowder, more gunpowder than I'll ever need for all my firework rockets and sugarcane needs. And with that, your farm is finished, and that is all for today's video. I really hope you enjoyed today's video, and if you did, please consider leaving a like and subscribing because it really does help me out. This is my brand new second channel where instead of posting hardcore Minecraft, I post farm tutorials. So any feedback would be greatly appreciated, and if you have any questions or concerns with the farm, let me know down in the comments below, and I'll try to answer as best I can. But that's all for today. I really hope you enjoyed. My name is JWhisp, or Whispy, and I will see you guys all in the next video.